I'm Elizabeth Deckard, teacher of the deaf and hard of hearing.
I'm Monica Wyke, another teacher of the deaf and hard of hearing. Go ahead.
Sorry. We are going to talk to you about a couple things, but first, want to make sure you get your materials ready. So you'll need a piece of paper and a writing utensil, and you can go ahead and make 2 columns on your piece of paper and number them 1 to 10.
Yeah, go ahead and pause this real quick. Take a minute, get it yourself ready. We won't need it for a few minutes, but you're going to want to have it ready so you don't have to worry about it. We already kind of introduced ourselves, but today we're going to talk about creating a deaf-friendly classroom. And what does that mean? What does that even look like?
Mm-hmm. This is one way that we might see in the deaf community where they get your attention by waving their arms.
And in case you're wondering, we want your attention now.
Yes.
Okay, let's pay attention. We got this.
All right, so we are using the term deaf today as an inclusive term for all deaf, deafblind, hard of hearing, deaf, disabled, late deafened, all the above.
Pretty much anybody who has a hearing loss is just getting put under the all-inclusive term of deaf. And it's important to note that deafness really is a spectrum, just like vision and the world of blind, low vision is a spectrum. And there's different levels of residual hearing and different level. And like it varies. And so we just want to make sure you know, like, if we say deaf, we also mean hard of hearing kids. We also mean unilaterally deaf kids. We also mean anybody who might struggle to hear differently or hear differently than their typical hearing peers. Whatever that means. Not sure what typical hearing is.
Right.
But, you know, from the normal. This is just an image that kind of is all-encompassing. All the things that we do, all the things we work with. The biggest issue for our deaf and hard of hearing kids is access. So how do we give them access? How are we making sure that they have all the things that they need?
Might see kids with cochlear implants, hearing aids, Bahas. They might have a direct microphone that you have to wear to go to their devices. They might need closed captions. They might have an interpreter. Really, any of those things.
They might have ASL mentors. They might just be learning ASL. Maybe a kid, they tried to use English only for a really long time and it's just not making the progress we'd like. And it's because they're not accessing English and spoken language, auditory languages, the same way as they would speaking ASL through that vision, hearing it through their eyes versus through their ears. And being able to speak through their hands instead of their mouths. And a lot of these kids can speak with their mouths. They do speak in English fairly well, but speaking with your mouth and hearing with your ears are 2 very different skills.
Very different.
So this is just a simulation for a mild hearing loss as a whole. And I just thought it was a good place to start for like listening in context, right? Like, and this is a mild hearing loss, like a really mild hearing loss. This is not, for most of our kids with mild hearing losses, most of them don't have interpreters.
And for most of the kids with hearing loss in the district don't just have a mild hearing loss.
No, more of them is way more significant than this. And for people who already speak English or already know the language around them, they can fill in gaps a lot easier than kids who are still learning language. So just keep that in the back of your mind as well. So let's go ahead and let's watch.
Hi, this is Karen Anderson from Supporting Success for Children with Hearing Loss. And I want to talk about how children with hearing loss really can miss more than you think. Hearing loss is invisible, so it's hard to get across just how much of a challenge it really can be for a child with hearing loss in a classroom situation. It's often helpful to use a visual analogy, so that's what I want to do with you right now. Just think about vision problems. If you have a vision problem, then the print you see is much smaller in a lot of cases, and it makes it harder for you to quickly recognize what the word is. So what do? Often we provide glasses that make the word larger, clearer, easier to see without any extra effort. But with hearing loss, the sound is diminished. So the child with hearing loss is not going to hear the words as loudly as their peers. But not only that, for most children, even when they do wear hearing aids or a cochlear implant, they still have a challenge hearing all of the speech sounds. Very often they have a hard time picking up word endings, like the difference between the words cat, cap, cast, or calf. Especially in a large group listening environment or when the speaker is more than about 3 feet away, those ending sounds are really a challenge to pick up and help to understand the whole word. So by looking at this little teeny word, can you tell what it is? Probably not. So we're going to add a hearing aid, and it makes it louder. And yes, hearing aids and other amplification devices do have some enhancement of speech, so it makes it easier for the person with hearing loss to hear all the words. But at this point, none of our hearing technology restores hearing loss to normal hearing levels. So there's always added challenge and added effort to fully understand what's being said, especially when the person is in a large group listening environment like a classroom, when the speaker is farther away than 3 feet, and when there's any background noise. So, have you figured out the word yet? Maybe not. Here's a clue. And so, as you can see, now that you know what the word is, it's not that hard to figure it out. And just like when students hear parts of the word, it's really important to have some visuals or some other helps, some other supports so that they can be sure to access as fully as their hearing peers. I'm going to give you another chance at this. Let's use another visual analogy.
Before we get started with the next part, though, I just wanted to emphasize we filled in that blank because we know what a fire truck is. Mm-hmm. I already know that word. Do you? Mm-hmm. You know, like we learned that word when we were like 2. Like we've heard that word repeatedly. We've seen it. We know what that is. So our brains could fill it in even better. For kids who are still learning vocabulary, that's even harder because they don't have the context to fill in that blank. Mm-hmm. So it's even more challenging for them.
And we also kind of had the context of the airplane. So it was like a vehicle. That was another context we had that as adults we can help figure out. A lot of our kids aren't there yet.
Right. And that's another reason, especially when our kids are missing that much of a word, why we might add ASL or we might look at visual languages, because now we can make it fully accessible for a fire truck. Mm-hmm. And it might take time to learn the same way as it takes time to learn any language. But this, they're not missing any sounds, right? They're getting all of it. So like that just depends on, and this is really, but like you might get fire truck then. Okay, let's keep going with the simulation.
But again, in a classroom setting, it can be very challenging. When the speaker is any further away than 3 feet, sometimes those ending sounds get missed, and those unemphasized words like the and the word endings are often not heard at all. So look at what this story is. And again, it's a very common children's story. Have you guessed it yet? I'm going to give you a little help. There it is. There's your visual. And now I'm going to tell you what the story is. Once upon a time, a city mouse went to visit a country mouse. The country mouse lived in the field. He was glad to see his city friend. The 2 mice ran about the field and played until noon. So once again, you were able to see the story, or in the case of the child with a hearing loss, they're able to hear speech typically. Hard of hearing children using hearing aids or cochlear implants can hear much of the speech that goes on around them. But that last bit of understanding can take a great deal of effort. And that's where families and educators who really understand this come in, so that we can help to make sure that they have the amplification devices they need to truly access as much of the speech sound as possible, and the visual supports and other learning supports needed so that they can truly keep pace with learning as well as their cognitive peers. Hearing loss isn't a learning disorder, it's a communication access issue. So thanks for helping out students with hearing loss.
So it can become a functional cognitive or intellectual disability, even if they don't actually have one. And we see that a lot with kids who maybe could only access parts of language for too many years. And now they're just missing so much information because they missed all of that input. And now they're functioning like they have a more significant disability than they have.
Yeah. We also see kids that teachers think have behaviors because they're hearing things incorrectly. I had a student the other day that I told him to cross his T, and he thought I asked him if he had brushed his teeth. So he was trying to get me to smell his breath.
Or my other student who was told to go wash her hands, and she kept looking at her pants because she was like, what's wrong with my pants? She misunderstood. And it happens all the time. And so in case, just to clarify, the written words on the yellow is what the hearing loss sounds like to the hard of hearing or deaf child, to that hard of hearing child. It is not that it sounds like what she spoke. It's that written text.
Yeah.
Just to make sure we're all on the same page there. Okay. Go to the next thing. Okay. Are you ready for a spelling test? You ready? Okay. We're going to go ahead and start this. And the first time, we're just going to listen. And I want you to write down your answers, 1 to 10. Now, trust me, I know it feels really dorky. Like, why do I need to write this down? Trust me. Write it down. It's only 10. You don't have to show it to anybody. Just write it down. And then we're going to watch it again. And this time, I'm going to interpret the test. I'm going to interpret it into ASL. And you might be thinking, I don't know ASL. How's that going to help me? I bet it will. I bet it will. Are you ready? Let's go. And I'm going to ask you to move over just a touch, Elizabeth. And for the first part, I'm going to go ahead and just listen, and then I'll pause it and rewind it. Are you ready? You have your paper, your pencil, you've marked it 1 to 10. Okay. If you don't, pause it and go get your paper. And then come back and unpause it. Okay, you ready?
This is an unfair hearing test. The words have been carefully chosen so that they are easily confused with other words which sound much the same. And we have rigged the test to prove a point.
There's a lot of words that sound like other words.
You will hear the list of words 3 times.
There's a lot of words that sound
First,
similar.
filtered as though you had a slight high-frequency hearing loss.
Teeth and tea, right? Like
People with this degree of impairment often do not even realize they have a loss. In fact, they get very indignant when their friends suggest that they may have a hearing problem.
And then,
at other times, they are very frustrated because they think everyone is mumbling, even when they're not. We will also speak just a little softly, so you will have to concentrate hard on hearing the words correctly. You are to write them down. We think you're going to have a little problem getting them 100% right. Remember, we are giving you a little hearing loss as you listen to the test. Go ahead, try it. Write the words in column A on the worksheet. Here's the list. Ready?
Number 1, fill. Number 2, catch. Number 3, thumb. Number 4, heat. Number 5, rise. Number 6, wedge. Number 7, fish. Number 8, shows. Number 9, bed. Number 10, juice.
Okay. How'd that go? How many did you get? All right, I'm going to go ahead and I should have moved Elizabeth over after that. Oops, kind of ignored her. That's okay. She'll live. She loves me. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go back. And this time I'm going to make myself a little bit bigger so you can see me better. Got to have that access. Okay. Second column.
Number 1, filled. Number 2, catch. Number 3, thumb. Number 4, heat. Number 5, rise. Number 6, wedge. Number 7, fish. Number 8, shows. Number 9, bed. Number 10, juice.
How'd you do?
And remember, this was only, I'll scoot back in. This was only a slight high frequency hearing loss. This wasn't as much a hearing loss as most of our kids have.
Mm-mm. And by the time we're recommending interpreters for kids, they're missing 50%, 60% or more usually, which is really too much. Hearing kids get 90% on average on like functional listening evals that we do, even in noise. So the fact that if like it gets to a point where kids getting an interpreter, it means they're missing a lot. It's not just a couple words. How'd you feel? What observations did you make? What's the difference? I'd love to hear from you. I know on Loom here, you can add a comment. We can totally get back to you on there. You're also more than welcome to, shoot us an email, or let's set up a time to talk. We're happy to sit down and chat at a time that works for everybody. But I think that this is just a way to keep in the back of your head. How much easier was it did you get any more right on the second test than you did the first? Because even if you got 1 or 2 more correct the second time, that was more access.
And a kid doesn't have to know ASL before they get an interpreter.
No, we don't stop talking to English learners because they don't know English.
Yeah.
Right? We keep talking to them. We don't stop talking to kids because they don't respond to us either. We keep talking.
Mm-hmm.
Back. Yeah, I was gonna move us across and make us a little bit smaller.
Okay. All right, so this section is about what we can do, and this is just a short list. There are many more things you can do. A lot of times we've written those in the IEP, or there's something we like. Oh, this would work for this kid. So we figure it out on the fly too.
All the time.
All the time. Like, oh, this kid's missing this. Let's try this.
Yep.
But anyways, just some things that help a lot of our kids. Let the student use whichever language they prefer. ASL, English, a mix of both. Don't make them sign. Don't make them
speak in ASL or make them speak in English.
Exactly.
It's their preference. Now there are times where we need to see what they know in ASL or we need to see what they know in English, and we can do that at specific times. But as a whole, let the kid use whatever language they feel most comfortable with.
Yeah. Get their attention prior to speaking to them. Make sure that they are watching you. You have their attention. And that way they can focus on what you're saying and they don't have to filter all the other things out when they're focused directly on. Well, they still have to filter some, but they are able to focus on you as you're speaking.
And it just makes it more accessible.
Yeah.
Like it's easier to hear when they can also see you, which sounds crazy, but we all use those visual cues at times. It's harder for most of us to hear when we can't see somebody. But it gets even harder. This doesn't mean they're even like lip reading. It just means they're using those cues.
Yep. Make sure you're facing the person. Don't move around.
Let's squish together more like we're not seeing on here.
If your back is to them, not only can they not use those visual cues that we were just talking about, but your voice is going in a different direction. So facing them is really important for a multitude of reasons. Use good lighting. Make sure your face is well lit.
Make sure the window behind you, the blinds are drawn.
Yeah. Especially if you have an interpreter, don't turn the lights off. Make sure that the interpreter is seen.
And lighting is really important to deaf and hard of hearing people. The shadows make it harder to use those visual cues. It can also lead to more fatigue. It makes it harder.
Reduce background noise. This is a big one we've been working on this year. And this not only includes like the noise outside your classroom, the fans, but also turning music on while you're teaching, or while they're working. They can't focus on, like, that just adds more auditory distraction when they're trying to listen.
I have one student right now that when there's background noise playing, even quiet, he just goes, I don't know what you're saying. All I hear, blah, 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 blah. I don't know. He literally cannot hear anything. He gets no auditory information when there's background noise.
Write things down, use pictures. This kind of goes back to that video that we watched. Using those pictures, using things written down just helps them have better access. Using gestures or simple ASL. If you have an interpreter, if you have a deaf mentor coming in, those people are great resources for learning simple ASL. And we're always willing to answer questions or have somebody come in if you have any questions. Speaking of which, take advantage of your interpreter. If you do have an interpreter, they are willing to answer questions about signs, about how to best provide access. They are there on the daily, so you might see them more than you see us. So they are able to answer some of those questions.
And they are related service providers. Like they are professionals the same way an OT, a PT. Like it's degrees. These are like bachelor's degrees that people are getting to be interpreters. This is not just
I learned a little ASL.
Yeah, this isn't. I had an ASL bug. Like this is a lot of studies.
Seat deaf kids where they can see best. This is going to kind of depend on the kid, but usually where they can see their classmates' faces as well, not just front and center, but where they can see your face and the classmates' faces. That way they can have full access to everybody. Using closed captions, even if your kiddo isn't reading yet, that just helps make those connections that words are being played.
There's words, there's people talking. Oh, didn't know there was words now. Or it can also just helps with literacy because kids can start making connections between what they are hearing and what they're seeing on the screen. They get more than you think, even if it's not what's providing full access. But back to like we're seeing kids where they can see best. You want, especially whoever is speaking and whatever they're presenting, and if there's an interpreter too, all within one line of sight. We don't want to have the person speaking over here, what they're trying to look at here, and then the interpreter's way over here, because then the kid's having to play tennis. So it's really important to have people together. But even if there is no interpreter, we want the person speaking and what they're trying to look at within like their line of sight whenever possible. Like just know that if you're not, there's an even higher likelihood that they are missing information.
Speak clearly and be willing to repeat what you said or
their peers said.
So repeating what peers said is a huge one, because a lot of times our peers have quieter voices or
maybe a speech impediment they're working through.
So just repeating that, and then being willing to repeat what you had said. Ask them like, hey, what did you hear instead of did you hear me? Because most of our kids will say, yeah, I heard you. And they might have, but they might not have understood it. And don't assume that they're having a behavior, kind of like we talked about earlier, just because they misheard something.
Make sure they truly understood you before consequences are given. Make them repeat directions or things like that. You said something a second ago, my brain went. hearing and understanding are different. The same way during all those simulations we just heard, how much did you hear and how much did you understand, right? There's a lot that we heard, but that doesn't mean we fully understood. And so that's the same thing with our deaf kids.
Yeah. And then remember that deaf kids are your students too. If you have a kid with an interpreter, speak directly to that kid. Don't tell the interpreter, hey, can you tell this kid this? Speak directly to them. The interpreter will still interpret. But speaking to the interpreter is not.
No, and it makes them. If I talk to let's say you and I are talking, and I don't speak Spanish, and you speak Spanish, or whatever language it is, right? If I'm talking to the interpreter instead of talking to you, then do you feel like you're having a conversation? Because I would talk to me. Don't talk to them. I'm talking to you. Let them interpret, but we're the ones talking. So we just that's part of it.
Yeah. And then remember that we're a team. We are here to help with anything you need. We're here to problem solve, to answer questions, whatever you need.
Yeah. And that goes back to please reach out and let us know. We're happy to help explain this and talk about it and help you process what you're learning today. Yeah. In fact, we would much rather come do this in person,
right.
But sometimes it's also nice to have this available to watch on your own time.
Yeah.
Okay, so just because it's kind of fun, thought we might like to learn a couple words in ASL. Just a few basics, and if there's more you'd like to learn, we're happy to help facilitate that. So we have want. Like, I want this. I want. We could also have don't want. We're kind of flicking it away. Don't want. Those are both important. We need to be able to talk about what we want and what we don't want.
Yep.
Help. This is one that can be kind of, it's called a directional verb. So it's not just help, but it's like, let me help you. So it's this on a flat hand, and I'm going to push it towards you. Let me help you. Can you help me? Let's help each other. Share. This is important. Share. Another one that goes along with that is like your turn. It's like an L hand. Your turn, my turn, your turn, my turn, your turn. And we can indicate whose turn it is. Thank you. Thank you. Also, a thumbs up and a smile goes a long way. Just a thumbs up goes so far. As does gesturing, pointing at something, being willing to be like, ooh, right? Show those gestures can go a long way for deaf and hard of hearing kids who speak ASL or don't. And you can really increase your classroom culture with everybody learning some basic ASL. Even if your deaf kids don't know ASL, they don't speak ASL, they can still benefit from learning some basic vocabulary as a class, which can help when it's loud and we're transitioning to the cafeteria or hallways or whatever. Wait. And please, flat hand, please. If you make it a fist, like an S or really a fist, and you go, that's sorry. I'm sorry. Yeah, those are just a couple extras. And I think that's it.
Yep.
I think that's everything we got for today, at least. So if you have any questions, seriously,
please reach out.
And I should have put my email address on here, but oh well, we'll get that to you.
Yeah.
And then, but please reach out and please, or comment on the Loom or email us. If you're in Lawrence, it's just our first name, last name in Lawrence. Yep. So that was at the first of the screen. But yeah, so we would love to help you out.
Yeah.
Thanks.